I've got this question a few times, which is how do you make sure you're getting all your vitamins and minerals on a raw food diet? In today's video, we're going to break it all down. What vitamins and minerals are, why they're essential, and how to make sure your needs are met on a raw diet. Now, I'll share the specific foods that are what I call the nutritional rock stars. So that way you can feel confident in your choices every single day. So let's dig in. Make sure this mic is on. We'll start by breaking down what vitamins and minerals are. Now, vitamins and minerals are micronutrients that your body needs to thrive, right? Unlike macronutrients like proteins, carbs, and fats, which give us energy, vitamins and minerals support countless vital functions from energy production to boosting our immune system and repairing cells. Now, here's a little breakdown for you. Vitamins are just organic compounds that come from plants and animals, right? We've got vitamins A, B, C, D, E, and K, right? So now minerals are inorganic elements that come from the earth, like magnesium, calcium, and zinc. Both are very important for optimal health. And the good news is that a raw food diet can provide most, if not all of them, when you do it right. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how do I get enough vitamins on a raw diet? And that's a great question. First, let's talk about water soluble versus fat soluble vitamins. So, water soluble vitamins like the vitamin B complex and vitamin C are not stored in the body, right? We get those daily from the foods we eat, like citrus fruits, leafy greens, sprouts, and microgreens. Now, fat soluble vitamins like vitamins A, D, E, and K are stored in our liver and fatty tissues. So, to absorb these vitamins best, you need to make sure to eat some healthy fats like avocado, nuts, and seeds. Right now, let's cut into the cake. Some of the raw food vitamin rock stars would be vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K, and vitamin E. That's the cake, right? So now there's loads of vitamin C in things like oranges, strawberries, kiwis, even bell peppers and kale. And when I think of vitamin C, I think of a vitamin that's going to help boost my immune system and keep my skin healthy. Now, vitamin A or beta carotene can be found in things like carrots. Pretty cool, right? Carrots, carotene, as well as sweet potatoes and dark leafy greens like spinach. Now, all the vitamins are really important, but I wanted to expand a bit more on a few of them in this video, starting with vitamin K. There's a grip of vitamin K in leafy greens like collards and parsley. But you might be asking, what is vitamin K and what does it do and why do I need it? Now, I like where your head's at, and I'm going to do my best to break it down for you. There's two types of vitamin K. Vitamin K found in leafy greens and vegetables, and then vitamin K2 found in fermented foods that's made by our gut bacteria, the microbiome. So you got K1 and K2. Now, here's the magic, though, and how it all works in our bodies. When you eat foods that are loaded with vitamin K1, think vegetables and leafy greens, our bodies can convert some of it into K2, which is especially important for keeping our bones strong and keeping our hearts healthy. So, what does vitamin K do? It supports blood clotting, which it basically does this by calling out to the protein crew to help your blood clot up properly so you don't bleed out like crazy when you get cut or injured. It also strengthens your bones. And it does this by regulating the calcium in your body to make sure that it's deposited into the bones rather than your arteries. And it also protects your heart by keeping that calcium out of your blood, out of your blood vessels, and keeping it in your, keeping it from your, or keeping your arteries from becoming too stiff and calcified. So you have great blood flow and a healthy cardiovascular system. Now, the best raw food sources of vitamin K are dark leafy greens like kale, spinach, collard greens, parsley. Now check this out. Just 1 cup of kale gives you more than 500% of your daily vitamin K. Now, since vitamin K is a fat soluble vitamin, you'll absorb it better when you combine it with healthy fats. And you can do this by adding a little bit of avocado to your salads and maybe sprinkle it with a tiny bit of crushed up nuts or seeds, and then use a little tahini and lemon juice to drizzle on top. Just do your best by eating plenty of leafy greens and mixing them with an appropriate amount of these healthy fats. That way, you give your body the tools it needs to build strong bones, have great blood flow, and stay in tip top shape. Now, excuse me, there's this next one is pretty cool. Have you ever heard of natto? It's a Japanese food that's made from fermented soybeans, and it's one of the highest sources of vitamin K2 on the planet. No conversion needed. Even though most plant-based foods can give us a pretty good amount of vitamin K1, natto is super cool because it's packed with vitamin K2, which is especially important for what we just covered, bone health, right? Like helping the calcium bind to your bones and keeping them strong, as well as heart health, preventing the calcium from building up in your arteries and making them stiff, all calcified, right? So here's a great way to use natto. Natto has a sticky, stringy texture and a really bold flavor, but you can enjoy it raw with a splash of low sodium tamari or mixed into a salad. It's a really great way to boost your immune or boost your vitamin K2, especially if you're into fermented foods. So, by eating natto or other fermented foods, you're giving your body a direct source of this important nutrient, supporting both strong bones and a healthy heart. Now, to top this cake off, we've got vitamin E. What is vitamin E? How much do we need? And what does it do? In short, it helps protect our eyes, our blood, our brain, our glowing skin, helps keep our immune system strong, and helps protect our cells from damage. And the RDA for adults is about 15 milligrams. So, where do you find it? Let's break it down. To start, we've got nuts and seeds. These little guys are stacked with vitamin E. Some of the best sources of vitamin E are sunflower seeds and almonds. Just 1 ounce of sunflower seeds, which is about 3 tablespoons, gives you nearly half of what your body needs for the day. And 1 ounce of almonds also gives us about half of what we need for the day. Now, these can be a good snack to keep your levels topped up, but keep in mind to not get too carried away with snacking on nuts and seeds, as they are super high in fat and can be really easy to overdo it. We don't want to spoil our dinner, right? Now, you can sprinkle a little bit of these on your salads or your smoothie bowls, or blend some up in like a killer raw dressing. And if you need some ideas, grab the plant-based bundle linked below. If you're looking for some epic recipes, this bundle is full of goodies, and you'll have more recipes than you'll know what to do with. Now, next, there's the oils. Sunflower oil and avocado oil are some of the things that you can use to get some vitamin E into your diet. And some people like to drizzle oils over their salads or use them to make raw dressings for an extra nutrient boost. But I really want you to keep in mind that oils are fractionated and processed foods. They're basically pure fat and contain no fiber. So be mindful of the amount you're using if you're going to go that route. Personally, we exclude oils in our diet all around because, in our opinion, there's just better ways to make sure that we're getting enough vitamin E. Now, of course, we've got fruits and veggies, which are both nutritious and delicious. And remember, don't underestimate the raw produce. Sometimes it gets a bad rap. Avocados are also a great source of vitamin E and are super creamy and delicious with about 2.7 milligrams of vitamin E in a medium avocado. And then there's mangoes, which are not only, delicious, taste like the sunshine, but also deliver about 1.5 milligrams per cup, I think it was. And of course, we've got leafy greens like spinach, Swiss chard, which sneak in a little bit of vitamin E while also giving us so many other nutrients. And you can always add like a little bit of hemp seeds or a scoop of spirulina to your salads or smoothies for that extra boost as well. And, how can we bring all this together? Let me get my little paintbrush out and paint you a picture of a day rich in vitamin E. For breakfast, blend a smoothie with a cup of water, some spinach, some mango, maybe a tablespoon of hemp seeds, and a few dates. Right? At lunch, you could toss together a colorful salad with romaine, shredded carrots, tomatoes, and a sprinkle of sunflower seeds, and then drizzle that with a simple dressing made from blending up half a cup of water, a quarter of an avocado, some fresh lime juice, and a teaspoon of miso paste. Now, for snacks, slice up and devour a couple of kiwis and or mangoes. I'd go for both. And for dinner, try zucchini noodles or zoodles topped with a raw pesto made with fresh basil, sprouted sunflower seeds, and a drizzle of tahini. Again, if you need some ideas on how to make some of these recipes, like the pesto, be sure to grab that bundle linked below. There's tons of recipes in there for you. By incorporating these vitamin E rich foods into your meals, you'll keep your body fueled and thriving naturally, or all natty style, as I like to say. Now, moving on, seems like one of the most common concerns on a raw or plant based diet is getting enough vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. Now, our bodies naturally produce vitamin D when our skin is exposed to sunlight. But depending on where you live in the world, the season it is, or how much time you spend indoors, you might need to look at food sources to fill in those gaps. Supplementation, of course, is always a great way to make sure you're hitting your daily marks. But listen to this. This next one is really cool. I'm excited to share it because maybe you haven't even heard of this yet. UV exposed mushrooms. This could be a plant based solution to those vitamin D concerns. Did you know that mushrooms can naturally produce vitamin D just like our skin does? I was tripping when I first heard of this. Check this out. When mushrooms are exposed to sunlight or UV light, they convert a compound called agersitol into vitamin D2. This makes UV exposed mushrooms a really unique and powerful plant based source of vitamin D. Now, you might even be able to find these UV exposed mushrooms at the supermarket. Pretty cool, right? Look for these labels when you're shopping. UV treated or UV exposed. When they're labeled like this tells us that the mushrooms were exposed to UV light to boost their vitamin D content. Mushrooms like shiitake, maitake, and portobello are often available with added vitamin D. Not to worry though, if you can't find them in the supermarket that are labeled like that, because you can expose regular mushrooms to sunlight at home. All you got to do is set them upside down with the gills facing up in direct sunlight for 30 to 60 minutes. This simple trick can supercharge their vitamin D levels. Pretty cool, right? Now that you've got your vitamin D charged shrooms ready to go, here's some ideas on how you can add them to your raw meals. What we like to do is make up a marinade with some lemon juice, a little bit of tahini, and some coconut aminos, or a little bit of low sodium tamari. Then we'll slice up the shrooms real thin and toss them in that marinade, mix them up real well, and then place them on a dehydrator sheet and dehydrate them at 110 degrees Fahrenheit for just a little bit, just to kind of get that marinade to set into the mushrooms for maybe like an hour or so. And once they're done, you can use these on top of all kinds of dishes, whether it be your salad or a zucchini or cucumber noodle dish, in your soups, or you can roll them up into your nori rolls with some avocado and some shredded carrot. They can really add a nice texture and flavor to your meals. Another thing that you can do is toss them into your blender or food processor and blend them up with some other goodies to make a pate. And you can use that pate to make raw burgers, raw taco meat, or make a raw mushroom loaf. And then, depending on what you make, you can dehydrate them until you get the texture you like. That's what we like to do. And it's super delicious. And as you can see, UV exposed mushrooms are really helpful if you're following a raw food diet because they're one of the very few plant based sources of vitamin D. So cool. And while vitamin D2 from mushrooms is slightly different from vitamin D3 found in animal products, studies have shown time and time again that vitamin D2 is still effective in maintaining healthy vitamin D levels. So, by using UV exposed mushrooms in your meals, you're adding not just vitamin D, but also a lot of other nutrients like selenium, potassium, fiber. And this is just another way that you can keep your vitamin D levels on point. It's a win win for both your health and your taste buds. Now, what about vitamin B12? This is one of the most talked about nutrients, especially on raw and plant based diets. But here's the thing: vitamin B12 deficiencies are not just a plant based issue. What is vitamin B12? B12 is a water soluble vitamin essential for red blood cell production, nervous system health, and DNA synthesis. Super important. And it's made by the bacteria in the soil and the digestive tracts of animals. And historically, humans got B12 from eating unwashed plants and drinking water from natural sources. But with our modern sanitation practices, God bless them, these have reduced our exposures. So, this is why many people, even meat eaters, are low in B12. Vitamin B12 isn't just a concern for vegans and vegetarians. Studies have shown up to 40% of people in the US have low B12 levels, and many meat eaters are deficient in B12 due to poor absorption, which becomes more common with age or due to medications like antacids. And absorption of B12 relies on a healthy digestive system and sufficient stomach acid. But conditions like IBS, Crohn's disease, and even stress can really interfere with this process. Just make sure you're getting enough B12 if you're following a raw or plant based diet, and you'll likely need to supplement B12 because it's not reliably found in plant foods. Now, there's two main forms of supplementation: sublingual drops or sprays, which absorb directly into our bloodstream, or fortified foods like nutritional yeast, which is often enriched with B12. Now, if you're a meat eater, it's still worth getting your levels checked, right? It's really important. It's like that saying, what gets measured gets managed. And just because you're eating animal products doesn't guarantee that you're absorbing enough B12. I really want to emphasize why supplementation of B12 is totally normal. Think of it this way: most farmed animals are given B12 supplements because modern agriculture practices don't allow them to get it naturally from soil and plants. So when you eat meat, you're essentially getting the B12 from their supplements. The way I see it, why not cut out the middleman and take a high quality B12 supplement directly? Even though whole plant foods don't naturally provide reliable amounts of B12, you can pair supplementation with B12 rich fortified foods like nutritional yeast. It's really good sprinkled on salads or raw pasta dishes for that cheesy flavor. Or you can make raw energy balls made with dates, nuts, and a pinch of the fortified nutritional yeast for that extra boost. So, the takeaway here is whether you're raw, vegan, or omnivore, Vitamin B12 is something that everyone should monitor. The key is to stay proactive, right? Get your levels checked regularly and supplement if needed to keep your energy, focus, and overall health in top shape. Now, why is vitamin B12 important? Vitamin B12 is a rock star nutrient that your body depends on for energy production, which helps convert food into energy your cells can use, right? And it's also really important for good nervous system function, helping support our nerve cells and protects them with a fatty sheath called the myelin, which is like a insulation for electrical wires, right? It also plays a crucial role in making healthy red blood cells, which carry oxygen to every part of your body. DNA synthesis, without enough B12, you can't produce new cells effectively. So, what happens when your B12 levels drop too low? B12 deficiency can sneak up on you, and the symptoms often overlap with other issues, making it tricky to spot. And here's what can happen when levels are too low: fatigue and weakness can set in. Without enough B12, your cells don't get the oxygen they need, leaving you feeling constantly drained. Brain fog and memory issues can arise as well. Like low B12 levels really can impair brain function, leading to difficulty concentrating and forgetfulness. Nerve damage is another one. A lack of B12 can cause like a tingling or numbness or pins and needles sensation, especially in your hands and feet. Low levels can also have an effect on mood changes. See, B12 plays a big role in our serotonin production, so low levels can also lead to anxiety or depression. And then there's anemia. A severe B12 deficiency can result in this condition where your body struggles to produce enough healthy red blood cells. Now, how much B12 do you need? Here's what men and women should aim for according to the recommended dietary allowance or the RDA. Adults 19 and up, 2.4 micrograms per day. Pregnant women, 2.6 micrograms per day. And breastfeeding women was 2.8 micrograms per day. Now, if you're checking your blood levels, the optimal range is 190 to 950 picograms per milliliter. But here's the thing: levels below 200 picograms are considered deficient, and symptoms can even start in the low normal range. So, for optimal health, many experts recommend keeping your levels above 400 picograms per milliliter, especially if you want to avoid subtle issues like the fatigue and brain fog. Now, here's some tips on how to stay on top of your B12 levels. Test regularly. A simple blood test can measure your levels to make sure you're in the optimal range. Remember, keep it above 400, good to go. And then supplement smart. Sublingual drops or sprays or tablets are the easiest way to keep your levels up. And then also eat fortified foods like nutritional yeast or fortified plant milks. Just add those to your diet as like a backup source. So by keeping your B12 levels in check, you're not only avoiding deficiency, you're supporting energy, focus, and long-term health. And that's why we're doing this, right? Now, let's dig into the dirt and talk about minerals. Minerals come from the soil that our food is grown in. And here are some key minerals and how you can find them in raw foods: calcium, iron, zinc, and magnesium. For calcium, think leafy greens like bok choy, collard greens, and kale. And then you've got things like tahini, almonds, chia seeds, and figs, which are all excellent sources of calcium. And you can get your iron from things like spinach, Swiss chard, and dried fruits like apricots. Take note that mixing these foods that are high in iron with foods that are high in vitamin C will help you really absorb that iron. And zinc can be found in things like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and cashews. And you can find magnesium in leafy greens like bananas, as well as bananas and pumpkin seeds. And that's what I like to call the chasm: calcium, iron, zinc, magnesium. So just easy ways to remember these things. And remember not to overthink all of this, right? Like Mother Nature designed it really nicely for us. And to make sure you're getting everything you need, just focus on variety. You'll have a lot of your bases covered if you just focus on eating a rainbow of raw and living foods. Now, let's dig into the truth about deficiencies. One of the biggest misconceptions is that raw food diets are inherently nutrient deficient. And the truth, as long as you're eating enough calories from a wide variety of whole foods, deficiencies are rare. However, it is a good idea to keep your eye on specific nutrients like vitamin B12, vitamin D, and iodine, which we didn't cover in this video, and supplement if necessary. And if you're digging this vibe, and you're ready to dive deeper into creating balanced raw meals, the plant based bundle has all the resources you need. We've included 16 of our products into this year's plant based bundle, and it's packed with all kinds of tools to help you hit your macro and micronutrient goals super easy. Click the link in the description box below and grab it before it's gone because it's only here for a limited amount of time, right? So, can you get all your vitamins and minerals on a raw food diet? Well, as we've gone over in this video, you can get really darn close to getting everything you need from raw plant foods, although things like vitamin B and vitamin D, those ones are a little bit trickier to get with plant foods. So, supplementing is something that we do just to make sure that we are staying in an optimal range. Now, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone curious about raw food nutrition and let them know, or let me know in the comments, what is your go-to food for packing in the nutrients? Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Love ya.